The meeting room on Kepler Station was huge. It had to be. 17 different alien species needed space to breathe, sit, or float in their own special ways. The humans sat at a small table near the back corner. They looked tiny compared to the massive Vorthan delegates with their blue skin and 4 arms. The crystalline beings sparkled like living diamonds in the bright lights. The Zephyrians moved like shadows, their gray bodies shifting and changing shape. Jake Morrison sat straight in his chair. He had been Earth's top diplomat for 12 years. His hair was getting gray now, but his eyes were still sharp. Next to him, Dr. Lisa Parker tapped notes on her tablet. She was the smartest person Jake knew when it came to alien biology. Commander Rick Hayes sat on Jake's other side. Rick was a soldier, but he wore a simple blue suit today instead of his uniform. The peace talks had been going on for 3 months. Every day, the humans came to this room with new ideas. They wanted to share resources between worlds. They wanted fair trade deals. They wanted to solve problems without fighting. But every day the aliens said no. The human proposal is foolish, said Chancellor Vexamer of the Zephyrian Empire. His voice sounded like wind through broken glass. They think with their hearts, not their minds. This is why young species should not make important decisions. Jake felt his jaw tighten. He had heard this same insult dozens of times. The aliens always called humans young or new or primitive. They acted like humans were children who did not understand how the galaxy worked. The crystalline speaker made a sound like breaking glass. In the human translation devices, it came out as laughter. Perhaps we should give the humans simpler tasks, she said. Let them carry messages between the real negotiators. More laughter filled the room. The Aquilian delegate flapped his wing arms in what Jake knew was their version of clapping. Even the slug-like Morvans made wet, bubbling sounds that meant amusement. Dr. Parker leaned over to Jake. The energy readings from the rim are getting stronger, she whispered. The deep space monitors are picking up something big. Jake nodded slightly. He had been getting reports from Earth every day. Things were moving that the aliens did not know about. Things that had been planned for a very long time. The Vorthan Empire has a new proposal, announced Lord Kethver. He was the biggest alien in the room, with skin like purple metal and eyes that glowed yellow. We have studied the human territories. These worlds are not being used properly. Humans are too emotional to govern star systems. Jake felt his heart beat faster. What do you mean? We propose that the more experienced species take control of human worlds, Lord Kethver said. We will manage them better. Humans can live there, but they should not be in charge. It is for the good of the galaxy. The room went quiet. Jake could hear the air recycling system humming. He could hear Dr. Parker's sharp intake of breath. He could hear Commander Hayes shift in his chair. You want to take our worlds away from us? Jake asked. His voice was calm, but inside he was burning with anger. Not take, said Chancellor Vexamer. Improve? Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. We have been building civilizations for thousands. You need guidance. Like children, added the crystalline speaker. Children who found dangerous toys. The Aquilian delegate spread his wings. It is decided then, the human worlds will be divided among the council species. We will teach humans how to be proper galactic citizens. Jake stood up slowly. The room was so quiet he could hear. His own breathing, all the alien eyes were on him. Some looked amused, others looked bored. None of them looked worried. Ambassador Morrison, Lord Kethver said. Surely you understand this is best for everyone. Jake looked around the room. These aliens had spent months insulting his species. They had called humans stupid, primitive, and dangerous. They had laughed at every human idea. And now they wanted to take away human freedom entirely. I understand perfectly, Jake said. His voice was steady and clear. I understand that this council has made its position very clear. You see humans as children who need to be controlled. Exactly, said Chancellor Vexamer. Now you are learning. Jake picked up his tablet and papers. Dr. Parker and Commander Hayes stood up with him. Then let me make humanity's position clear, Jake said. We withdraw from these talks. We withdraw from all current negotiations with the council species. The aliens looked confused. Some of them made sounds that might have been surprise. You cannot simply leave, said the Aquilian delegate. These talks are important for galactic peace. You just told us you want to take our worlds away? Jake said. You told us we are too stupid to govern ourselves. Why would we stay and listen? To more insults? This is childish, said the crystalline speaker. You are proving our point about human emotions. Jake smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Maybe we are emotional. Maybe we are young. Maybe we are everything you think we are. He paused and looked directly at Lord Kethver. But we are. Also done with this council. The human delegation walked toward the door. Their footsteps echoed in the huge room. Behind them, the aliens started talking all at once. Their voices mixed together in a chaos of different languages and sounds. They will be back, Jake heard Chancellor Vexamer say. Humans always come back when they realize they need us. Like children having a tantrum, agreed the crystalline speaker. Jake stopped at the door and turned around one last time. We will. Be in touch, he said, when we are ready. The door closed behind them with a soft hiss. In the hallway, Dr. Parker looked at Jake with worried eyes. Are you sure about this? She asked. They made the choice for us, Jake said. They want to treat us like children. Now they can see what happens when the children decide to play somewhere else. Commander Hayes checked his secure communicator. I have new orders from Earth, he said quietly. Operation Homecoming is active. All human assets are being recalled. Jake nodded. Signal the transport we are going home. As they walked down the long corridor toward the docking bay, Jake felt something he had not felt in months. Relief. The pretending was over. The careful diplomacy was done. Now the real work could begin. Behind them, the aliens continued their meeting, laughing about the silly humans who had walked away from the most important peace talks in galactic history. They had no idea that they had just made the biggest mistake any species could make. They had underestimated humanity. 3 weeks passed after the humans walked out of the peace talks. At first, the council aliens thought it was funny. They made jokes about human emotions and how quickly the humans would come back begging for help. But as the days went by, something strange started happening. The human trade ships stopped coming to alien ports. Every morning, dock workers on 100 different worlds looked for the familiar white ships with blue Earth symbols. They never came. The cargo holds that should have been full of human goods stayed empty. On the water world of Aquilia, Port Master Velanish waited for the weekly grain shipment from the human agricultural colonies. The ship was 3 days late, then a week late, then 2 weeks late. He sent messages to the human trade office, but no one answered. Council Speaker Vexhai called an emergency meeting on the council station. The big meeting room felt different now. The human table in the corner was empty. Dust was already settling on the chairs where Jake Morrison and his team used to sit. The humans are being dramatic, said Chancellor Vexamer. His shadow-like form shifted nervously. They want attention. They want us to apologize. Let them sulk, said the crystalline speaker. Her diamond body flashed with angry light. We do not need primitive humans to make our galaxy work. But Lord Kethver of the Vorthan Empire looked worried. His purple skin was darker than usual. My trade advisors say human goods make up 30% of our imports. Our people are asking where their human-made electronics went. Humans will come back, said the Ecolian delegate. They need us more than we need them. Speaker Vexhai raised his forearms for silence. We will show these humans that actions have consequences. I propose trade sanctions against all human worlds. No council species will trade with humans until they return to the talks. The vote was quick. 15 species voted yes. Only the Morvans and the small Felinian delegation voted no. The sanctions would begin immediately, far away on Earth. President Carol Bennett sat in her office in the White House. The room was quiet except for the sound of rain against the windows. She was reading reports from around the galaxy. Every human embassy was now empty. Every human research station had gone dark. Every human trade ship was heading home. Defense Secretary Paul Johnson knocked on her door. "Madam President, the Council voted for sanctions against us." Carol looked up from her papers. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. But when she smiled, Paul saw something that made him remember why she had been elected 3 times. "Perfect," she said. "That makes everything easier." "The Joint Chiefs are asking about Operation Homecoming," Paul said. "Admiral Kate Sullivan wants to know if we should activate the next phase," Carol nodded. "Tell Kate she has permission to activate the Sentinel network. It is time." On the other side of the galaxy, Dr. Amanda Foster was having the best day of her life. She stood in the control room of a secret facility built inside an asteroid. Around her, hundreds of technicians worked at computer screens. The walls were covered with displays showing star maps and energy readings. "Network status report," Amanda called out. "Sentinel Platform Alpha is online," said one technician. "All weapon systems ready." "Sentinel Platform Beta is online," said another. "Stealth fields holding steady." "Sentinel Platform Gamma is online," said a third. "Enemy detection systems active." Amanda smiled. She had been working on this project for 15 years. The Sentinel network was humanity's greatest secret. While the aliens laughed at human technology, human engineers had been building the most advanced defense system in the galaxy. The platforms were hidden in empty space around every important human world. They looked like asteroids or space junk to alien sensors. But each one was really a massive weapons platform with enough firepower to destroy entire fleets. "Dr. Foster," said her assistant, "we are getting reports from the outer colonies." "Alien ships are moving toward human borders," Amanda nodded. "They think we are weak because we left the talks. They think sanctions will make us scared." She turned to her communications officer. "Send a message to all platforms. Begin Phase 2. Back on the council station, the aliens were starting to worry. It had been 3 weeks since any human had answered their messages. The human embassy building was empty. The human trade offices were closed. Even the human restaurants in the station's commercial district had shut down. "This is not normal," said the Morven delegate. His slug-like body was covered in nervous slime. "Humans do not stay quiet this long." "Maybe they are planning something," said the small Felinian representative. Her cat-like ears were flat against her head. Chancellor Vexamer made a dismissive sound. "Humans are not smart enough to plan anything dangerous. They are probably crying in their home worlds." But intelligence reports were coming in from across the galaxy. Human colonies had gone completely silent. Human space stations were not responding to any signals. It was like the entire human race had vanished. On the mining world of Kepler-7, Supervisor Zixthel watched his workers dig rare metals from the planet's crust. Half of his equipment had stopped working last week. The machines were human-built, and without human technicians to fix them, they were useless. "Send a message to the Human Maintenance Company," he told his assistant. "I tried," the assistant said. "Their office is closed. No one answers." Zixthel felt a cold fear in his stomach. His mining operation depended on human technology. If the humans were really gone, his company would collapse within months. Similar problems were happening on hundreds of worlds. Alien hospitals could not get human-made medical supplies. Alien schools could not access human educational databases. Alien factories could not buy human-designed computer chips. The Council had not realized how much they depended on human goods and services. Humans had quietly made themselves essential to galactic civilization. Now that they were gone, everything was starting to break down. President Bennett stood at the window of her office, looking out at the lights of Washington. Secretary Johnson brought her the daily reports. Human military forces were in position. The Sentinel network was fully active. Every human citizen was safely inside human-controlled space. "The aliens are starting to panic," Paul said. "Their economy is having problems without our trade." "Good," Carol said. "For too long, we have been the junior partner in galactic affairs. We have been polite and patient while they treated us like children. She turned away from the window. Now they will learn what happens when they push humanity too far. In the depths of space, the Sentinel platforms waited silently. Their sensors watched for any alien ship that might try to enter human territory. Their weapons were charged and ready. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment. The galaxy was about to learn that the humans they had dismissed as primitive and emotional were actually the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. The silence was not surrender. It was preparation. Commander Zixthal of the Zephyrian Deep Space Fleet was having a bad day. His 5 ships were exploring the edge of human space near the Tau Ceti system. The area was supposed to be empty except for a few human mining stations. But his sensors were picking up something very strange. "Commander," said his navigation officer, "we are detecting massive energy readings ahead." Zixthal looked at the display screen. The readings were impossible. There was enough power out there to run an entire planet. "Are you sure the sensors are working correctly?" "I checked 3 times, sir. The readings are real." Zixthal had been exploring space for 40 years. He had seen gas giants and supernovas and black holes. But he had never seen energy readings like this in what should be empty space. "Move. U.S. closer, but keep weapons ready." As the Zephyrian ships moved forward, something appeared on their screens that made everyone go quiet. It was a structure the size of a small moon, but it was clearly artificial. The surface was covered with metal panels and weapon ports, hundreds of them. "By the 7 suns," whispered the sensor officer. "What is that thing?" Before Zixthal could answer, their communication system came alive. A calm human voice spoke in perfect Zephyrian language. "Unknown vessels, you are entering human-protected space. Turn back immediately." Zixthal felt his shadow form ripple with surprise. Human-protected space? This area is not on any human star charts. "I repeat," the voice said, "turn back immediately." "This is your only warning." Zixthal looked at his tactical officer. "Are there any human ships nearby?" "No, sir." "The signal is coming from that structure." Zixthal made a decision he would regret. For the rest of his life, continue forward. Humans are bluffing. They do not have weapons that can threaten a Zephyrian battle fleet. The human voice spoke again. "You have chosen to ignore our warning. Defensive measures will now be activated." The massive structure suddenly came alive with light. Weapon ports open like flowers blooming in fast motion. Energy began building in dozens of different locations. The readings on the Zephyrian sensors went completely crazy. "Commander," said the tactical officer, his voice shaking, "they are targeting all our ships at once." "Fire on that structure," Zixthal ordered. "Full weapons spread." The 5 Zephyrian ships opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams and missile salvos streaked toward the human platform, but something impossible happened. The weapons simply stopped working when they got close to the structure. The energy beams faded away. The missiles fell apart like sand. "What is happening?" Zixthal demanded. "Unknown defensive technology," the tactical officer said. "Our weapons are being neutralized before they can hit the target." Then the human platform fired back. But it did not use normal weapons. Instead, waves of invisible energy washed over the Zephyrian ships. All the lights went out. All the engines stopped. All the computers went dead. In the sudden darkness and silence, Zixthal realized he had made a terrible mistake. His ships were still intact, but they were completely powerless. They drifted in space like dead metal fish. "Emergency power," he called out. "It will not work, sir," said the chief engineer. "Something has shut down all our systems. Even the backup power cells are dead?" The human voice spoke again, but now it sounded amused. "Your ships are undamaged. You will be able to restart your systems in exactly 1 hour. Use that time to think about what you have learned today." Similar incidents were happening all across the galaxy. On the crystal mining world of Vega Prime, the Crystalline Collective had been running a major operation for 50 years. The mines went deep into the planet's core, extracting rare crystals that were used in their technology. Supervisor Tefanaro was checking the daily output, when all the mining equipment suddenly stopped working. The massive drilling machines went silent. The transport system shut down. Even the lights went out. "What is wrong with the power grid?" she demanded. "The power is working fine," said her chief engineer. "But all our equipment has stopped responding to commands." Kithanara sent repair teams to check the machines. They found that every single piece of equipment had been perfectly preserved, but their computer systems had been completely wiped. Decades of programming and data were gone. It took 3 days for the crystalline engineers to figure out what had happened. Every piece of equipment in the mine had been built with human-designed computer chips. Those chips had received a signal that made them erase themselves and shut down. "The humans did this," Kithanara said. "They put hidden commands in their technology." Meanwhile, near the border between human and Vorthan space, Lord Commander Vexter was leading a patrol of 12 Vorthan warships. The Vorthan Empire had the most powerful military in the galaxy, and Vexter was confident that humans would not dare to challenge them. "We are approaching the human border," reported his navigator. "Continue forward," Vexter ordered. "If we see any human ships, we will show them what real military power looks like." But as they crossed into human space, something very strange happened. The Vorthan ships began to separate. Not because they wanted to, but because they were being pushed apart by some invisible force. "Report," Vexter demanded. "Unknown gravitational fields are affecting our ships," said the science officer. "We are being pulled in different directions." Vexter looked at his tactical display. His 12 ships were now spread across a huge area of space. They could not support each other or work together. "Can we get back into formation?" "No, sir. Whatever is controlling these gravitational fields is too strong for our engines to overcome." Then human ships appeared. They seemed to come from nowhere, materializing around the scattered Vorthan vessels. The human ships were smaller than the Vorthan warships, but they moved with impossible speed and precision. "How many human ships are there?" Vexter asked. "Impossible to count, sir. They keep appearing and disappearing. Our sensors cannot track them properly." The human ships did not attack. Instead, they sent a message to the Vorthan fleet. "You are in violation of human space. Leave immediately or face the consequences." Vexter was too proud to retreat. "All ships, prepare to fire on the human vessels." But when the Vorthan ships tried to target the human ships, their weapons systems started malfunctioning. Targeting. Computers gave random readings. Weapon ports opened and closed by themselves. Even the ship's artificial intelligence began speaking in human languages. "Sir," said the chief engineer, "our ships are being controlled by outside signals. The humans are somehow commanding our own technology." Vexter finally understood. The humans had not just been selling them technology for decades. They had been installing hidden backdoors in every system they sold. Now they could control Vorthan ships better than the Vorthan crews could. Back on the council station, emergency reports were flooding in from across the galaxy. The Zephyrian fleet was drifting powerless near Tau Ceti, the crystalline mining operation had been shut down by human cyber warfare. The Vorthan patrol fleet was trapped and helpless in human space. Council Speaker Vexhai called an emergency session. The big meeting room was full of panicked alien representatives. The empty human table in the corner seemed to mock them. "The humans have been lying to us," said Chancellor Vexamer. "They are not primitive. They are not emotional. They have been planning this for years. Their technology is far more advanced than we thought," said the crystalline speaker. "They have been hiding their true capabilities." Lord Kethver of the Vorthan Empire stood up slowly. His purple skin was pale with fear. "We have made a terrible mistake. We treated them like children, but they are the most dangerous species in the galaxy." Admiral Kate Sullivan of the human fleet sat in her command chair aboard the battleship Terra Nova. She was a small woman with short gray hair and calm blue eyes. Around her, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. "Status report," she said. "All Sentinel platforms are active," reported her tactical officer. "Enemy forces have been neutralized without casualties." "Good," Kate said. "Send a message to the Galaxy Council?" Tell them that humanity formally withdraws from all galactic treaties. Human space is now closed to all alien vessels. Any attempt to enter will be considered an act of war. The message was sent across the galaxy in a matter of minutes. On hundreds of worlds, alien leaders received the same terrifying news. The humans they had dismissed as primitive newcomers were actually the most advanced. Military power in known space. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had been playing a very long game and they were about to win. 6 weeks after the humans closed their borders, the galaxy was falling apart. On the water world of Aquileia, millions of people were getting sick. The crops that fed the entire planet were dying because they could not get the special fertilizers that came from human agricultural worlds. Port Master Velanish stood on his empty docks, looking out at the harbor where human cargo ships used to arrive every day. Now the water was still and quiet. His workers had nothing to do. The warehouses were empty. "Any word from the Human Trade Office?" he asked his assistant. "Nothing, sir. We have sent 50 messages. No one answers." Velanish felt his wing arms droop with sadness. His people were starting to starve, and he did not know how to help them. The Aquilian government had always depended on human food supplies. Now they were learning how foolish that had been on the industrial world of Vorthan Prime. The greatest factories in the galaxy were shutting down one by one. Factory manager Colthex watched his production lines go dark. The newest machines, the ones that made the most advanced technology, all used human-designed computer chips. "Can we replace the human components?" he asked his chief engineer. "No, sir. We do not understand how they work." The humans never shared the technical details. Colthex realized the terrible truth. The Vorthan Empire's most advanced technology was really human technology with Vorthan labels on it. Without human support, their civilization would go back to the Stone Age. In the crystal cities of the Crystalline Collective, the great thinking machines were going quiet. These massive computers had helped the crystalline people solve problems for thousands of years, but they all ran on human-made processors and human-written software. Director Silanara watched her technicians try to fix the failing systems. "How long until complete shutdown?" she asked. 3 weeks, maybe less," said her chief scientist. "The human software is removing itself from our systems. It is like the programs are committing suicide." Silanara felt her crystal body dim with despair. Her people were known across the galaxy for their intelligence and wisdom, but their wisdom depended on machines that humans had built. Without those machines, they would be lost. The emergency council session was the most chaotic in galactic history. Representatives from 17 species shouted at each other in dozens of different languages. The translation systems could barely keep up with all the panic and anger. Council Speaker Vexhai called for order, but no one was listening. The Aquilian delegate was demanding immediate action to restore food supplies. The Vorthan representative was insisting that the council declare war on humanity. The crystalline speaker was warning that entire civilizations would collapse within months. "We have to do something," shouted the Felinian delegate. "My people are rioting in the streets. They want to know why their human-made devices stopped working." "The humans planned this," said Chancellor Veximer. "They made us dependent on their technology, then took it away." Lord Kethfer of the Vorthan Empire stood up. His purple skin was dark with rage. "I call for immediate military action. We must force the humans to restore trade." "With what military?" asked the Morvan delegate. "Half our weapons use human components. Our ships cannot function without human maintenance." Admiral Korthvax of the Vorthan Navy had been sitting quietly in the corner. Now he stood up and walked to the center of the room. He was an old soldier who had fought in a dozen wars. His scars told the story of his experience. "I have been studying human military capabilities," he said. "The reports are troubling." The room went quiet. Everyone knew that Admiral Korthvax never exaggerated or lied about military matters. "Tell us," said Speaker Vexhai. "The humans have been conducting the greatest intelligence operation in galactic history," Korthvax said. "For over a century. They have been studying our military systems, our technology, our weaknesses. They know everything about us. But we know about them too, said the crystalline speaker. No, Korthvac said. We know nothing. Every human diplomat, every human trader, every human scientist was a spy. They showed us only what they wanted us to see. He activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy. Red dots appeared around every human world, marking defensive positions. These are the military installations we have discovered so far, he said. Each one is more advanced than our best technology. The humans have been building in secret for decades. The aliens stared at the display in horror. There were hundreds of red dots, maybe thousands. The human military was enormous. How is this possible? Asked Speaker Vexhai. While we were laughing at them and calling them primitive, Korthvac said, they were preparing for war. They used our own arrogance against us. Dr. Yelanara, the Council's chief scientist, stepped forward. She was a small, insect-like creature, with large compound eyes. I have been analyzing human behavior patterns for the past month, she said. The results are disturbing. She showed a new holographic display with charts and graphs. Every human action for the past century follows a single pattern. They were gathering intelligence while hiding their true capabilities. What does that mean? Asked the Aquilian delegate. It means they were never our friends, Dr. Yelanara said. Every trade deal, every diplomatic agreement, every scientific exchange was part of a long-term plan. They were preparing for this. The room erupted in angry voices again. Some aliens called for immediate surrender. Others demanded a fight to the death. A few suggested trying to negotiate, but 3 species had already made their choice. The Felinian Confederation, the Morven Republic, and the Small Insectoid Union had all sent secret messages to human space. They wanted to make separate peace. Deals with humanity. Traitors, shouted Lord Kethfer when he learned about the secret negotiations. Survivors, replied the Felinian delegate. We will not let our people starve because of council pride. On Earth, President Carol Bennett sat in her office reading daily reports from around the galaxy. The reports painted a picture of chaos and collapse. Alien governments were falling. Economies were crashing. Some worlds were facing starvation. Defense Secretary Paul Johnson brought her the latest intelligence summary. The Council is splitting apart, he said. 3 species have already asked for separate peace deals. More will follow. Any word from the main council? Carol asked. They are still arguing about whether to surrender or fight, Paul said. But their military commanders know they cannot win a war against us. Carol looked out her window at the peaceful streets of Washington. Her people were safe and prosperous inside human space. The rest of the galaxy was learning what happened when you treated humanity as an enemy. What about our conditions for peace? She asked. Admiral Sullivan has prepared the terms, Paul said. Complete dissolution of the current council. New galactic. Government with human leadership. All alien military forces to be reduced by 70%. Carol nodded. And if they refuse? Then they can watch their civilizations collapse, Paul said. We have everything we need inside human space. They have nothing without us. The galaxy was learning a hard lesson. The species they had dismissed as young and primitive had been preparing for this moment for generations. Humanity had studied alien weaknesses while hiding their own strengths. The Council aliens thought they had been teaching humans about galactic politics, but the real lesson was going the other way. Humanity had been teaching the galaxy about power, and the lesson was almost complete. 6 months after the humans closed their borders, the Galaxy Council was dying. 3 more species had left the Council to make peace deals with humanity. The Felinian Confederation was already receiving food shipments from human worlds. The Morven Republic had signed a new trade agreement that gave them access to human technology. The Insectoid Union was working with human scientists to solve their population crisis. Council. Speaker Vexhai stood alone in the great meeting hall. Half the tables were empty now. The species that remained were barely holding their governments. Together, his own people on Aquilia were demanding his resignation. They wanted someone who could make peace with the humans. "We have no choice," he said to the few remaining delegates. "We must ask the humans for mercy." Chancellor Vexamer's shadow form flickered with shame. "How can we face them after what we said?" "We face them or we die," said the crystalline speaker. Her diamond body was dim and cracked. Without human computer systems, her people were losing their ability to think clearly. Lord Kethver of the Vorthan Empire looked older than his years. His purple skin was pale, and his eyes had lost their fire. "I will go," he said. "This disaster is partly my fault." The delegation that approached. Human space was very different from the proud council that had insulted humanity 6 months ago. They came in old ships that barely worked without human maintenance. They carried messages of surrender instead of demands. Admiral Kate Sullivan met them at the edge of human space. Her battleship Terra Nova was a display of human power that made the alien ships look like toys. The human vessel was sleek and deadly, with weapons that could destroy planets. The aliens were brought aboard in a small shuttle. They walked through corridors filled with human technology that was decades ahead of anything they had ever seen. Human crew members watched them with polite but cold expressions. Admiral Sullivan was waiting in the conference room. She was a small woman with gray hair and calm eyes, but the aliens could feel the power she represented. Behind her stood other human officers, all looking confident and prepared. "You wanted to talk," she said simply. Council Speaker Vexai stepped forward. His wing arms were folded in the Aquilian gesture of submission. "Admiral Sullivan, we come to ask for peace." "Peace?" Kate raised an eyebrow. 6 months ago, you wanted to take our worlds away from us. You called us primitive children. Now you want peace? "We were wrong," Vexai said. "We made terrible mistakes. We did not understand what humanity was capable of." "You understood perfectly," Kate said. "You understood that we were different from you. You just thought that made us weak." "Chancellor." Vexamer stepped forward. "Our people are suffering. Millions are dying because we cannot get the supplies we need." "That is unfortunate," Kate said, "but it is not our problem. You chose to make humanity your enemy." "We want to make a new agreement," said the crystalline speaker. "We will treat humanity as an equal partner in galactic affairs." Kate laughed. But it was not a kind sound. "Equal? You still do not understand. We are not your equals. We are your superiors." The aliens looked shocked. Lord Kethver spoke up. "What do you mean?" "For a century you treated us like children who needed guidance," Kate said. "You laughed at our ideas and dismissed our contributions. You never realized that we were studying you, learning your weaknesses, preparing for this day." She activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy. Human territory was marked in blue, and it was much larger than the aliens had thought. "These are the systems under human control," Kate said. "Not just the worlds you knew about, but the hidden colonies, the secret research stations, the military bases you never discovered." The aliens stared at the display in amazement. Humanity controlled twice as much territory as they had believed. "How is this possible?" asked Vexai. "While you were playing politics in your council meetings," Kate said, "we were expanding into unexplored regions. We have been building a galactic empire while you thought we were just another small species." She changed the display to show military strength. The numbers were overwhelming. Humanity had more ships, more weapons, more soldiers than all the council species combined. "We could have conquered you at any time," Kate said, "but we chose to wait. We wanted to see how you would treat us when you thought you had the advantage." "You were testing us," whispered Lord Kethver. "And you failed," Kate said. "You showed us exactly what kind of neighbors you would be, selfish, arrogant, and cruel." The aliens sat in stunned silence. They had thought they were the teachers, but humanity had been teaching them. The lesson was about power, respect, and the consequences of treating others badly. "What do you want from us?" asked Vexai. Kate smiled. "We want you to understand the new reality. The Galaxy Council is finished. It will be replaced by the Terran hegemony, with humanity as the senior partner." "You want to rule the galaxy?" asked the crystalline speaker. "We already do," Kate said. The question is whether you want to be part of our new order, or whether you want to continue struggling alone. She handed them a document. These are our terms. You will accept human leadership in galactic affairs. You will reduce your military forces by 70%. You will open your borders to human inspection. And you will pay reparations for the damage your sanctions caused. The aliens read the terms with growing despair. They were harsh but not impossible. More importantly, they offered hope. Under human leadership, their people could survive and even prosper. What if we refuse? Asked Lord Kethfer. Then you go home and watch your civilizations collapse, Kate said. We have everything we need inside human space. You have nothing without us. The aliens looked at each other. They had no choice, and they knew it. Their pride had cost them everything. We accept, said Vexai quietly. Good, Kate said. Welcome to the Terran hegemony. 1 year later, the galaxy was a very different place. The old council station had been replaced by a new facility called Unity Station. It was built with human technology and designed by human architects. The meeting halls were comfortable for all species, but everyone understood who was really in charge. Ambassador Jake Morrison sat in the Secretary General's office, the same man who had walked out of the peace talks 18 months ago. He was now the leader of the galactic government, representing humanity's interests across the galaxy. Dr. Lisa Parker brought him the daily reports. The Aquilian food crisis is over, she said. The Vorthan factories are back online. The crystalline computing systems are working again. And the former council species? Jake asked. Learning to appreciate human leadership, Lisa said. They are discovering that we actually solve problems instead of just talking about them. Jake looked out the window at the busy space lanes around Unity Station. Ships from dozens of species worked together under human guidance. The galaxy was more prosperous and peaceful than it had ever been. They thought we were emotional children, he said. They never realized that children grow up. The aliens had learned their lesson well. Humanity was not the junior partner in galactic affairs. They never had been. They had been the future, waiting patiently for their time to come. And that time was now.